أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. قال سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس إن خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل للتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. صدق الله العظيم وصدق على رسوله النبي الكريم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وأتباعه وأوليائك وعلمائك وشهدائك وبارك وسلم sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. In Allah's name, the most merciful and compassionate. Allah Azza wa Jal has our deepest gratitude and devotion. We recognize His magnificence and turn to Him for guidance, sustenance, and forgiveness. We seek His protection from the evil of our actions, from the evil within us, and the evil around us. When Allah guides someone, no power in the universe can lead them astray. When Allah misleads one, no one can bring them back to the correct path through guidance. I bear witness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only deity worthy of worship, and I recognize Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam as His devoted servant and messenger. An abundance of durood and salawat upon the best of creation, the crown of creation, Nabi Kareem rahmatan lil alameen, our Master Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, his noble family, his blessed companions, and the honorable wives. I greet all Huffaz, Tulaba'ul Ilm, elderly and youth, those present and those watching via social media with the peace and blessings of Salamualaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Throughout history, humans have changed a lot. We have developed many different ideals, concepts, and ideologies. We have advanced in many ways, especially in terms of technology and scientific understanding. However, even though we have advanced so much in terms of worldly ideologies and technology, we have yet to change our disgusting and discriminatory ideologies when it comes to each other. And of those disgusting ideologies, the one that is arguably the worst of all of them, and unfortunately the most common in society, is racism. As I said, racism has been prevalent throughout all of history as we know it. But the first instance of an act of racism being committed was before humans were even on earth. Everybody knows the story of the creation of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered everyone to do sujood, prostrate to Hazrat Adam alayhi salam to show respect and honor. This is called sujood tahiyya. And we all know who did not do sujood. Iblis, who is now known as Shaitan Mardud. Now what we need to understand is the reason behind Shaitan not doing sujood. Shaitan was so egotistical that he neglected and denied the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the same Lord that Shaitan, Iblis, spent years on years on years worshipping. And then he denied his order out of his own ego. And what did he say? He said, "Why would I perform sujood to him? He is made of clay and I am of fire." What is this? This is racism. I am superior to you because of my origin. This is the clear concept, the essence of racism. The same ideology has continually been present throughout history, and today it is still present. We understand that anybody who is a racist is following the path of Shaitan Mardud. So many civilizations throughout history have been recorded in their racism. The Egyptians used to depict non-Egyptians as chaotic, enemy forces. Many other people like the Romans and the Greeks considered anybody who wasn't the same race as them barbarians. The same with the rest of Europe. They looked at everybody else as less than themselves. And then we had other civilizations like China and India, where a lot of us are from, who had even more racism. Not only did they condemn other races, they also looked down upon their own society and have had racism within themselves. They had castes within themselves. It would start with royalty, and then priests, scholars, and political figures. Then we had warriors, landowners, and farmers. Then merchants and traders and laborers. And then at the bottom were the slaves and the other races. And because your position in society was determined on your origin, where you came from, what was your lineage, who are your parents, what are your family wealth, this in itself is a form of racism. And this racism was prevalent in no other but the Arabs as well. The Arabs were so racist towards non-Arabs that rather than referring to people who are not Arab with something, words like non-Arab, they made a derogatory term for them, a swear word. The Arabs used to call the non-Arabs al-Ajam, which actually means mute, somebody who cannot speak. They used to call them this out of mockery because they cannot speak Arabic, because they could not understand the language that the non-Arabs were speaking. And they called all the non-Arabs this, with no regard for where they came from. This was a way of showing superiority from the Arabs, because they considered all non-Arabs inferior. And they didn't even care to give them unique names based off of their own race. And just like the Chinese and Indians, the racist and discriminatory societal norms, the Arabs also had these castes within themselves. They had racism within themselves. They had something called tribalism. There were many tribes, and according to the power of your tribe, you would be superior or inferior to somebody else. If you're born into a more powerful tribe, you would consider yourself better than somebody else, and you would show racism towards the other tribe. And of these tribes, the most powerful and esteemed were the Quraysh. They were the most powerful because they were the key holders of the Kaaba. And they had control over the Zamzam, the well of Zamzam as well. And they were the direct descendants of Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam. A lot of them were on path of Deen Ibrahim. And between these tribes, they had even more hierarchies, just like we mentioned before, and even more racism and discrimination towards each other. We understand that the Arabs, though they were very intelligent people, they were very technologically advanced for their time. They were also full of pride and arrogance of their origin and their ancestry. And this shows that they still had Jahiliyyah in their heart. And then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam was sent down as a mercy to the world. He was sent down to abolish this Jahiliyyah, to abolish this path of shaitan and the path of misguidance. He was sent down to guide people to Sirat al-Mustaqim. He sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam was sent to the greatest tribe, the greatest caste in the lineage of the Quraysh, the greatest tribe in the Arabian Peninsula. The caste of Banu Hashim. They were part of the Qurayshian tribe. And indeed, before any social activists, before any of these humanitarians or philosophers, before any of them fought for human equality, fought for anti-racism, it was Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam who condemned this act and fought against this evil ideology. In front of one of his largest audiences, if not his largest audience, Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam spoke about this racism during Hajj al-Wida in his final sermon, which was not that long. And a large chunk of the sermon was given to this topic of racism. Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam said, all mankind is from Adam and Eve. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, nor a non-Arab has any superiority over an Arab. Also, a white has no superiority over a black, nor a black has any superiority over a white, except by piety and good action. Learn that every Muslim is a brother to every Muslim, and that the Muslims constitute one brotherhood. Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam made it clear for us that the only thing that makes one man superior to another is that their piety and their relation with Allah is better than another. That is the only thing that makes you a different person, a unique person. That's the only distinction that matters. Is the only distinction that can earn you superiority in the eyes of Allah. No matter what your color is, no matter who your parents are or what your lineage is, no matter what your passport is, where you're from, no matter what your class is, no matter what your wealth is, nothing distinguishes you except your faith, your belief, and your piety. And this is why we must unite as Muslims in goodness. One day Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam was passing by in Mecca al-Mukarramah. And one of the Sahaba, whose name I'm not going to mention, was owed money by Sayyidina Bilal radiallahu ta'ala an. And Bilal radiallahu ta'ala an was unable to pay this loan, so he had to tell the companion to come back the next day. And then the next day he had to tell the companion to come back again the next day. And this happened many times. And eventually this companion got very, very frustrated. And he said something along the lines of, "O son of a black woman, how dare you not give me my money?" And hearing this, Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam asked this companion, "Did you insult Bilal and insult his mother because of the color of their skin?" The companion here replied, "Yes, I did, Rasulullah." And Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam reprimanded him and said, "You are a man who still has ignorance inside of him. You are a man who still has the traits of Jahiliyyah." And following this, the companion realized his mistake and immediately he sank to the ground. He put his face upon the floor and asked Bilal radiallahu ta'ala an to put his foot upon it. Sayyidina Bilal was very forgiving and he couldn't do it. However, this companion insisted and swore to not lift his face from the ground until Bilal put his foot on top. And following this, Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam made a prediction, a prophecy, and that the 4 acts and ideologies will remain in the ummah and the world of Jahiliyyah till the end of time. And the first of these 2 related to this exact concept of racism. The first one, he said, is boasting. Boasting about al-fakhr bil-ansab. Boasting about your forefathers, about your lineage, about your ancestry. And the second is denigrating or humiliating. Being discriminatory towards others because of their lineage. So the first one is your own pride and arrogance upon where you came from and who you are. And the second one is actually going and putting somebody else down because of your pride and arrogance. And is this not the reality today? Though racism and racial abuse as we understand it, which was slavery, the extreme slavery, it is not prevalent anymore. But racism in itself has not been abolished. It has really just gained a new form. The same people who would be forced into slavery are now the same people who are working 9 to 5s and slaving their lives away towards the same masters. The same people who were oppressive back then are the same people who are oppressing right now. It is that same government that are still enforcing these 9 to 5s and these lives of slavery that nobody realizes. And it's not just the political sense that racism is still prevalent. Even in social and private gatherings, racism is still present. And unfortunately, it is even more prevalent now in some Muslim households than it was before. The underlying hatred people have today towards darker-skinned individuals is still present to this day, and especially in our own people. And even worse than all of that is that people don't understand the significant and substantial sacrifices that the darker-skinned individuals have made for Islam. The African people, the Habash and the Abyssinians, the sacrifices they have made are uncountable. We need all to be grateful for these sacrifices. We all know Sayyidina Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He was the greatest mu'adhin of Islam. He was the mu'adhin of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. He was also the head of treasury for Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. We all know the story of how boulders were being smashed upon his chest and his chest was crushing, barely able to speak, and the only thing he said was La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. In that time of pain and suffering, he never forgot his tawheed. He remained upon tawheed. For those who don't know, if your life is on the line, you are allowed to lie about your faith to protect your life. But no, Sayyidina Bilal never deterred from this, and he remained tawheed upon his tongue. But still people have the audacity to show racism towards the African people. And then we have Sayyidah Sumayya radiallahu ta'ala anha, the first Shahida of Islam. Not only that, not only was she the first Shahida, she was the first martyr overall. And she was also the mother of Sayyidina Amr bin Yasir radiallahu ta'ala anha. And her martyrdom was so gruesome, we can't even speak about it. Most people cannot bear speaking about how gruesome her martyrdom was. She was martyred by Sayyidina Abu Jahl. Astaghfirullah, Abu Jahl Lanati. And she sacrificed everything in the way of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. And again, people have the audacity to speak ill about people of color. We also have Sayyidina Zayd radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who was the adopted son of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. He was also black. He was the only companion mentioned by name in the Quran al-Kareem. And then we had his son, Usama bin Zayd radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He was a commander of an army and appointed by Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. And he was only a young age of 17 years old. Some individuals showed some racism and discrimination and doubt upon him because of his age and possibly his color. But Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam rebuked this criticism and he affirmed the capability of Usama bin Zayd. And then we have Sayyidina Mihja bin Salih radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who was the first shuhada, who was for the first martyr of the shuhada of Badr. And then we have Ayman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who was a close companion to Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Rasulullah said, if there was to be a mother after my mother, it would be Ayman. She participated in the battle of Uhud as she was tending to the wounded. Both of them were also dark-skinned. And we have many more esteemed figures who are people of color. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam is considered to be a person of color. Sayyidina Hajra radiallahu ta'ala an, the wife of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, was also of color. We have many more prominent, influential figures who came after the Sahaba as well, who were also people of color. We had the first mufti of Mecca, the first established mufti of Mecca, Ata ibn Abi Rabbah. He was also a person of color. We had Tariq bin Ziyad, a prominent figure, a commander under the Umayyads. He was a conqueror of Spain. The reason we have Muslims from Spain today is partly because of Tariq bin Ziyad. Both also, they were of color. So we understand from all of this that Islam is a religion that brings us all together in unity under one Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we deal in our affairs, we must uphold our ties of unity and not show any sign of the ignorance of the jahiliyyah that was before Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala. As indeed the one who shows this act of racism and of jahiliyyah is the one who is following the path of Iblis, Shaitan Mardud. We all must come together in unity and stay away from the path of Shaitan. And one more thing about unity is that it is exactly what we need as an ummah right now. We must come in unity and pray for the ummah, because that is what we are lacking right now. We must make ourselves better as a nation by praying together. Ya Allah, we ask you to protect us from anything that would harm us. Ya Allah, we ask you to give aid to those Muslims who are in trouble all around the world. Ya Allah, help and protect the people of Palestine, the people of Gaza, the people of Sheikh Jarrah, the people of Rafah. Ya Allah, ease their pain and suffering. Ya Allah, open your doors of mercy, sustenance and protection, and allow them to be besieged, and open your doors of mercy once again for them. Ya Allah, protect us from the adhab during the ends of time. Ya Allah, bless us all with husn al-khatibah. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Anything I have said in error is from me, and anything I have said which has benefited you is from Allah Azza wa Jal. JazakAllah for listening. Wa akhir ad-dawaya alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalamualaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We get the brothers to go around for donations, inshallah. Inshallah, we have a couple of announcements as the brothers are going around. Allah, you have the machine? Inshallah, we have 3 time changes for Saturday, tomorrow. Fajr Adhan will be 5:20 and Iqamat will be 5:30. 5:20 Adhan and 5:30 a.m. Iqamah for Fajr Salah. Asr Adhan will also change to 6:30 Adhan and 6:40 Jama'at. 6:30 Adhan and 6:40 Jama'at for tomorrow, inshallah. And Isha Adhan will also change to 10:15 p.m. Adhan and 10:25 Jama'at. 10:15 p.m. Adhan and 10:25 Jama'at, inshallah. Inshallah, we have another couple announcements. On Saturday, September 21st, will be our annual Mawlidun Nabi. So save this date, put it on your calendars. It's going to be a very big event. We're going to have international Nath Khawan, international Nasheed artist, who is also an alim of the deen. He is going to be arriving and blessing us and enlightening us all with his nasheed. And we have the ziyarat of the holy relics of the Prophet ﷺ, his Mubarak, which we have here as well. We will have the procession, the julus outside that we do every year. We're going to have food and niyaz outside as well for everybody. So everybody is invited for that. Save the date, Saturday, September 21st. We also have madrasa starting back up. Right now we have exams going on. This is exam season. So September the 3rd is going to be the first of the new semester for madrasa. 5:30 to 7:30, Monday to Friday. We have the timings. And you want to get your students, your children to learn Quran, Qaida, Tajweed, anything. We have Alimiyya as well for older teenagers who might want to learn more about Islam. We have Alimiyya, and we have Islamic studies for the younger students as well. We have year 1 to 4 starting in September the 3rd, inshallah. And for those who cannot come Monday to Friday, we have Sunday school for children and adults. For adults who might have not finished learning the Quran or might want to just practice with a sheikh, we have Sheikh Muhammad here back, alhamdulillah, so you can learn from him on Sunday, which is going to be 12 o'clock to 1:30, I believe. You can ask me later about that. And we were going to have Quran and Tajweed, and he will help everybody get better at reciting the Quran. And we have for children as well on Sunday, We have Saturday classes going on right now. We have Aqidah al-Tahawiyya, which is what we understand to be our belief, our Aqidah on society, and our Aqidah in terms of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophets. Inshallah, you can also apply for that, and we're going to have more courses. We have fiqh courses as well to learn the Sharia, how to do wudu, ghusl, all these things. If you haven't learned this before, you can also ask Ustad about that, Ustad Omar. You can talk to him about those courses, and you can learn your Fardul Ayn, your Fardul Ulum, which is what is necessary for every individual to know. This is called your Fardul Ayn. So you can talk to Sheikh Omar to learn about that as well on Saturday classes if you don't have the time to come in Monday to Friday, inshallah. Going to have it done.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله الذي زين النبيين بحبيبه المصطفى ومن على المؤمنين بنبيه المجتبى. الصلاة والسلام على رسوله محمد الخير الورى. عما بعد، فيا أيها المؤمنون رحمنا ورحمكم الله تعالى، أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله عز وجل في السر والإعلان، واقتفوا آثار سنن سيد المرسلين صلوات الله تعالى وسلامه عليهم أجمعين، وزينوا قلوبكم بحب هذا النبي الكريم عليه وآله وأصحابه الكرماء أفضل الصلاة والتسليم، فإن الحب هو الإيمان كله، ألا لا إيمان لمن لا محبة له. رزقنا الله وإياكم حب حبيبي عن النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم. البر لا يبلى والذنب لا ينسى والديان لا يموت. اعمال ما شئت كما تدين تدان. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد بعدد من صلى وصام، وصل على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه أجمعين. بارك الله لنا ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعنا وإياكم بالآية والذكر الحكيم. إنه تعالى ملك كريم جواد بر رؤوف رحيم ورب حليم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد أفضل صلواتك بعدد من صلي وصام، محمد أفضل صلواتك عدد معلوماتك، وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه أجمعين، خصوصا على أفضل الناس بعد النبيين أبي بكر الصديق وعمر الفاروق وعثمان ذي النورين وعلي المرتضى والحسنين، وعلى سيدة النساء فاطمة الزهراء، وعلى أميه المكرمين الحمزة والعباس رضي الله تعالى عنهم أجمعين، وعلى كل من اقتره الله بصحبة نبيه بالإيمان. ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. الله أكبر الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله والله أكبر، الله أكبر ولله الحمد. قيم الصلاة.
الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمد رسول الله، أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
لا إله إلا الله محمد Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Brothers, please fill in the gaps in front of you, children to the ends of the safs or the back. We have downstairs available as well. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أوآباؤنا الأولون قل إن الأولين والآخرين لمجموعون إلى ميقات يوم معلوم ثم إنكم أيها الضالون المكذبون لآكلون من شجر من زقوم فمالئون منها البطون فشاربون عليه من الحميم فشاربون شرب الهيم هذا نزلهم يوم الدين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله استغفر الله استغفر الله. أفضل الذكر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام، تباركت يا ذو الجلال والإكرام. اللهم رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم انصر المسلمين في فلسطين. اللهم انصر المسلمين في فلسطين. اللهم انصر المسلمين في فلسطين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه أجمعين. سبحان ربك رب العزة أما يصفون، وسلام على المرسلين، والحمد لله رب العالمين، برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
تاجدار حرم اے شہنشاہ دی، تم پہ ہر دم کروڑوں درود و سلام ہو نگاہ کرم ہم پہ سلطان دی، تم پہ ہر دم کروڑوں درود و سلام، تاجدار حرم اے شہنشاہ دی، تم پہ ہر دم کروڑوں درود و سلام ہو نگاہ کرم ہم پہ سلطان دی، تم پہ ہر دم کروڑوں دور رہ کر ندم ٹوٹ جائے کہیں، دور رہ کر ندم ٹوٹ جائے کہیں، کاش طیبہ میں میرے ماہ مبیں دفن ہونے کو مل جائے دو گز زمین، تم پہ ہر دم کروڑوں درود و سلام، تاجدار حرم اے شہنشاہ دی، تم پہ ہر دم کروڑوں ہو نگاہ کرم ہم پہ سلطان دی، تم پہ ہر دم کرو کوئی حسن عمل پاس میرے نہیں، کوئی حسن عمل پاس میرے نہیں، بس نہ جاؤں قیامت میں مولا کہیں، پھنس نہ جاؤں قیامت میں مولا کہیں، اے شفیع لاج رکھنا تم ہی، تم پہ ہر دم کروڑوں درود و سلام، تاجدار حرم اے شہنشاہ دی، کروڑوں درود و سلام ہو نگاہ کرم سلطان دی، تم پہ ہر پھر بلا لو مدینے میں عطار کو، پھر بلا لو مدینے میں ہم گناہگار کو، یہ تڑپتے ہیں طیبہ کے دیدار کو، یہ تڑپتے ہیں طیبہ کے دیدار کو، کوئی اس کے سوا آرزو ہی نہیں، تم پہ ہر دم کروڑوں درود و سلام، تاج
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وأتباعه أجمعين سبحان ربك رب العزة أما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.